Maximizing your solar in winter is probably the most crucial things you need to do. In this video, I'm going to show you a little trick that it's kind of a do-it-yourself project to not only make your own do-it-yourself Jackery box, but how to increase your solar efficiency in winter. So one of the things I learned last year when I was parked next to a solar installer in QURTZSITE was that, you know, sometimes it's not so much about wattage and amps, it's about efficiency. Are you using your solar 100% of the time, 90, 50? You know, what's the percentage of maximizing your solar efficiency? And what we were doing was we were not maximizing our solar efficiency. So because of the Airstream, we've got the little tilt, and yeah, that does help a little bit, but in low-lying sun, we were missing, in the wintertime, we were missing, especially in December and January, we were missing like 3.5 hours of sun a day, and not really maximizing that sun, because, you know, solar is all about the sun, right? So we came up with an idea to maximize our solar, and it's a quick do-it-yourself project, and it's really easy to do. Of course, the other issue that we had too was that when we made our camper van, we wanted electricity. So we wanted solar, we wanted some, you know, like a secondary backup. What I didn't know at the time was that this van has 2 batteries in it, and one specifically was for a 12-volt system that was supposed to be in here. It's called an ambulance. So I didn't know that. So we went out and bought a battery, a charge controller, and this van was independent of the Airstream. So when we did go on extended camping trips or go to places where we couldn't pull the Airstream, we had solar. We could charge our laptops, we could charge a bunch of different things, right? So what I did was to make it more efficient, because I wasn't using the solar all the time on the van. In fact, maybe I was using it 10-20% of the time. So all that solar energy, all that was wasted by not being efficient with our solar system. So I took it all apart, and what I did was I made a remote and mobile Jackery box. So I could take it in and out of the van and not only boost solar in the Airstream, but then when we did use the camper van, I had my own Jackery box. So this is a really super simple idea. I already had the charge controller, so and I had a Blue Sky 3000i charge controller. It's a 30 amp charge controller. Well, all I did was remove the seal in an old Igloo cooler that had a little 12-volt fan sticking out. In fact, here's the power cord hole for the 12-volt plug that you would plug into a socket. I had a little battery that you can buy on Amazon. This is an AGM battery that you can buy on Amazon for about 120 bucks. And all I did was then get a 12-volt fuse box. I mean, it's a very, very simple setup. You've got your negative, you got your positive. I threw the battery in there and it fit like a glove. I took my 2 positive and negative solar connectors here. I drilled a little hole in the lip, drilled a hole in the box, and this is it. Now, here's how this gig works. Of course, I drilled holes, and I bought this at a marine store, like a boat store, because these things are hard to find in an RV place. But these are just 12-volt plugs that I can plug in a laptop charger. I can plug in my phone. I can plug in a bunch of different things. This is a 100 amp hour battery. So I can run this thing for a pretty long time. And all I did was buy a ZAMP connector. This is a ZAMP solar connector that are readily available all over. This wire right here, this setup, is usually about 20 bucks. And that's all it is. So what I did was I tied it in here. It runs through the old power cord, and of course then runs into my charge controller. So your charge controller needs power, and then it connects to the solar panel. So right now, I'm charging at about 0.2 amps, 14.4 volts, and it's charging this battery. Now this is a standalone unit right here. This is standalone. Okay, wires come around. There's the solar panels. Of course, I put these solar panels in the back of the van, so I don't need them all the time. So when I don't need them, they're not being used. So this is the standalone charge controller box. But what if I want to boost charger or boost my solar on the Airstream? So this guy right here is the exact same connector that I bought at, I think I bought it in QURTZSITE last year, and it's just a regular ZAMP connector. So instead of buying one, I bought two. So the way this works is like as the sun is dipping low or the sun is rising in the morning, man, it takes like 2 hours before that sun even hits one of these solar panels on top of the Airstream. So that I'm not being efficient in my solar. So what I did was with the box, all I have to do is make a really quick switch from the standalone box that I put in the van and to pimp out my solar on the Airstream. Okay, now this solar charger is working in conjunction with my other 40 amp charge controller in the Airstream. Yes, you can have two charge controllers going at the same time. So it's communicating with my other charge controller in the Airstream, and I'm pulling in 1.6 amps and 14.4 worth of volts. This is now not charging the battery. It's being disconnected because I disconnected it from there, and it's being disconnected in here. So the cables from the outside of the Airstream, I did have to drill a hole in the side of the Airstream. It's fine. It's not that hard to do. And those positive and negative wires then are attached to the battery. That's it. That's really simple to do. So now the two charge controllers are working together. Now the cool thing about this setup is I will say this, is that we did make a mistake with our solar setup in the original design. We ran our solar panels in series, which is voltage, because 5 solar panels equals more amps than my 40 amp charge controller could take. But what I didn't know is that you can run solar panels both in series, both in parallel at the same time, and you can kind of cheat a charge controller. So without going into a lot of technical mumbo jumbo, I'm actually now running series and parallel at the same time because of my do-it-yourself Jackery box. Not only am I helping my batteries in the low-lying sun in the winter months because it's pushing amps in the battery instead of voltage, I can disconnect it, put it in the van, and now I have my own Jackery box. And at any point in time, if I'm camping in the camper van, pull my solar panels out, plug it into the Igloo or Jackery box, and I can charge that 100 amp battery as a standalone charging station. So right now, with the angle of the sun, and it's January, even at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I lose solar efficiency big time. Right now, because the solar panels are ran in series on top of the Airstream, I mean, I'm just trickle charging the battery at best. That's all I'm doing. But with that system of actually creating a mobile solar panel unit that you can plug in to work with your charge controller, right now I'm pushing an extra 4 amps into my battery, into my Airstream battery compartment. So I think for us it's worked marvelous. Had I not boondocked next to a solar installer in QURTZSITE last year, I never would have been able to figure that out. But you know, he did remind me it's all about solar efficiency. And in the summertime, you know, it's not really that big of a deal. But when you're boondocking in winter and you lose the sun in the morning time and it sets so fast in the winter time, you lose so much solar efficiency because you don't have your panels tilted directly at the sun. Now, I know what you're going to say. Put tilts on them. You should have put tilts on the solar panels. Yeah, but now you're climbing up and down a ladder twice a day to either tilt or retilt or change the direction of your solar panels. Quite frankly, I didn't want to do that. That's just not me. That's not what I wanted to do. So this way, and I've seen more and more RVs have their solar panels on the ground. Now you can also, instead of building your own Jackery box, not everybody has a camper van like we do. This box, the total cost of this box was probably about $200, which is a far cry from buying a Jackery box, which is, you know, $700, $800. There's a lot of different boxes out there. I don't mean to keep saying Jackery, but you know, there's a lot of different of these mobile Yeti, all kinds of these charging station boxes that work on solar. You can get solar panels, suitcase solar panels that have the charge controller on the back of the solar panel. In that case, you would not need to do what I did. I did that specifically so I could have a mobile charging station in the camper van, take it out of the camper van, put it on the side of the Airstream, and get 200 more watts and amperage into my battery compartment in the winter time. That was the idea behind that. I already had the solar panels that were on top of the van that I just took off and you know, just used them for that project. So you know, I had some of the gear already. If you were going to make this on your own and you're going to reuse an Igloo box, you can pick those up at QURTZSITE for about 20 bucks. They just have a little 12-volt fan in there, and you just take it apart and slap a battery in there and just be creative and make your own box. You know, it's up to you. But I think for van lifers specifically, and for people that tow a camper trailer specifically, and want to incorporate a solar project and struggle in the winter time, this is a good fix for it. You don't have to use the Igloo cooler. Obviously, you can use something else, but the goal and the point is to create a mobile back and forth solar box so you can help your camper trailer in the winter time, and if you're going to go off-road, or if you're going to go camping in a separate vehicle, or if you're a van lifer and your van and your solar panels are on top of your van, you know, and you just don't get that high sun in the wintertime, this is also a good alternative to boost your solar. So anyway, hope you liked it. It's a quick do-it-yourself project that you can do very, very easily. If you have any questions, please post your comments. I answer all questions all the time, and I'd be happy to help you out. I'm going to put all the parts and links to where I got this and where I bought this stuff in the comments below. So if you want to know what kind of battery it is, what kind of charge controller, what kind of 12-volt little fuse box, I'll put them all in the links below, and you can kind of take a look at that. So anyway, hey guys, thanks. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so anyway, and we will see you later. Bye.